All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's Cryptocopia Live AMA. If you're new to Cryptocopia, we are a community focusing on all things cryptocurrency. We're perfect for seasoned vets, beginners who are new to the space, anybody and everybody. I'm your host, Michael Kripkala. You can find me on Twitter or on Discord at Mike Spellcheck. But today we are joined by Danny Johnson, co-founder of Hxro Games. They are the company that's reimagining crypto trading as we know it. He also founded Pinkcoin, and he was a professional poker player for almost 11 years. So there's a ton that we want to cover. Danny, how are you doing today?
Phenomenal. Thanks for having me on the show, Mike.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. We're really excited you could be here. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you got started working on Hxro and how you met the other founders?
So I met Dan Gunsberg, the CEO and co-founder, in October of 2017. We were at a little breakfast lunch and learn that was put together for a crypto project in downtown Chicago at Cut Steakhouse, and we got seated at the same little tiny table on the side because we both showed up late. And we just got to talking 20 minutes in and realized that there was a lot of synergy and we enjoyed each other, and we just kept the conversation going. And then a couple days later, we had dinner at Hubbard Inn with Rob, our other co-founder, and Greg Zanotti, one of our team members, and just started kicking around ideas about just crypto in general. And then over the following months, we kind of we're talking about how fun, when I play poker, how fun the environment is at the World Series of Poker, and they're telling me stories about the trading pit and how when markets started moving, there'd be a rush of adrenaline, and people just you could hear and feel and sense the excitement, and it was pretty much exactly what it was like playing poker in the World Series of Poker main events or World Series of Poker events. And then we're we need to find a way to capture this, and then that's when kind of Hxro was born. We started working on it in, I guess, January, but then really took it serious in May of 2017, and it's been building, heads down building ever since. And we launched our private beta in January, and it's been a whirlwind. It's been really exciting and really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I've been playing around with the site a little bit. I mean, it's obvious. You guys have 2 games already for just having launched in January. Can you just tell us a little bit about your elevator pitch for Hxro and what those games are like?
Yeah, so we actually have 1 game right now. We have one that's planned on a roadmap for later this year called My Bags, but our first game is Moon Wrecked.
Oh, okay.
So essentially the platform is a peer versus peer trading game, which allows people to play short time frame price action on price of Bitcoin and other crypto assets when we add them in the future. So first game time frame is 5 minutes. We're going to add 15 and 60 in a day and other ones, but for the private beta, just for the purposes of testing and providing one liquidity pool, it's 5 minutes. And so you're deciding before the contest starts whether the price of Bitcoin is going to be up or down, so moon or wrecked. And when the contest starts, prior to the contest starting, you don't see any information except for the pool size, and you make a decision. Do you want to go moon or wrecked? And then when the contest starts, all that information of which side people are on and how much Hxro is on each side becomes revealed to you. So you get to see how many entries or how much an entry is on the moon side, how much on wrecked, and there's an associated payout multiplier with that because of the nature of the contest. It's a pari-mutuel payout. So if there's 20,000 Hxro in a pool, and there's 5,000 on wrecked and 15,000 on moon, that and wrecked happens to win, the whole wreck side wins the entire prize pool of 20,000. So if you're 10% of that wreck side, you put 500 of the 5,000 in there, you have the opportunity to make a 4x payout. So you're going to win 2,000 Hxro.
So it pays to be a contrarian.
It pays to be a contrarian. Yes, that's what we've learned. Always better to make a higher expected value decisions than just trying to be right all the time.
Uh-huh. Now, how did your background as a professional poker player help your work with Hxro?
So in a number of ways, there's a high correlation to the skill set you develop as a poker player to trading crypto. You learn risk management, you learn expected value, decision making. You think quickly on your feet. You have a high tolerance for risk in general. And so those skills are what kind of brought me into crypto in the first place. Actually, the need to bank myself was really the primary driver. But the skills I learned in poker came over to the Hxro game by kind of just being able to understand like how people perceive situations and how as a game platform, like what PokerStars and Full Tilt and Ultimate Bet and daily fantasy sports sites like DraftKings, I played on all of them, so I understand like what the players like about these games and what they didn't like, and how what these companies did right and what kind of were like things that held them back, and we're able to talk it out with Dan and Rob and the rest of our team and really kind of capture like the positive stuff that they did and try to like implement those similar things and not do the bad shit.
What are some examples of what you guys tried to avoid with your experience from the fantasy sites?
Well, first and foremost, like we want to make sure that we're like legally compliant, and that was something that
minor detail.
Yeah, PokerStars and Full Tilt and Ultimate Bet didn't do, which is why they were in the U.S. anyways, which is why they were ultimately shut down to U.S. players in 2011. So that was like primary thing that we wanted to make sure that we were set with. So we hired some big legal firms, O'Melveny Myers and Greenberg Tuareg, to handle that for us, and that was definitely and still is like a primary concern of ours, to make sure that we're doing things in a legally compliant way to protect ourselves and our company, and to make sure that we're doing things by the book. And then like secondly, like rake, like service fees, like so the nature of our game is pari-mutuel, so it's player versus player, but we take a 3% service fee on every contest. And so PokerStars and Full Tilt and all these like DraftKings, they all take 10% of rake, which is a pretty fucking high number. Like it's really hard to beat the game when you're paying that much rake. And then over the years, they've like increased their rake at the expense of their players. So we got together and decided like we can do this and be fucking fair, right? Like we don't want to price gouge and like really just rake our players over the coals with the service fees. So that was one of the major thing that we kind of talked about and implemented to be fair and to learn from the mistakes of these other sites, because when these other sites in corollary industries like poker and daily fantasy sports raise their rake, like their players get upset and frustrated and voice their concerns, and then they ultimately stop playing because they can't beat the game because the rake is so high. That's one of.
I mean, there has to be that balance where you're able to win some payouts, even if you haven't developed this full strategy. Like I was reading through one of one of like the power users of your site, and they put this tweet storm out, and they explained like it was a full trading strategy. It was the same kind of portfolio management you would expect. Yeah. I can't remember. I know their icon was like an anime character. I can't remember the handle.
Simon, Seiman, I think. He's a French guy that just came on and just it's like crushing, like absolutely crushing.
And he was totally like open about like his win rate, why he's doing what he's doing, how many, like why he's, not playing every single round, but he would cut back and maybe like wait, 3 or 4 before he plays one. Yep. We were talking a little bit earlier about like the strategy, behind the game. Like what, do you play the game?
I mean, I've played in the past, like definitely as a player of poker and daily fantasy sports, like I wanted to really get a feel for it and understand like the core game loops and how it feels as a player, the emotions that come from it. So yeah, I played.
Do you think it makes more sense to play round after round or hold back a few?
I mean, it really depends on your strategy, right? Like I think what a lot of people try to do when they start playing is they try to be right all the time, which we found out is like not. You can have a high win rate of 60% or 57% or something and still be ultimately like breaking even or losing a little bit because of the pari-mutuel nature of it. So what really becomes a better strategy than just trying to be right is trying to gauge the sentiment of others in the game and see which way they're leaning and fade them. So fading the public and being contrarian is ultimately the higher expected value decision. And so I think taking games off to really, if you have no idea which way the sentiment is and you think like I think probabilistically. So all my decision making is generally like probabilistic terms. Like if there's a 20% chance it's going to be everyone's on one side, like I'm going to probably choose that side if it's only 20%. But if it's like 70%, if I think 70% of people are going to be on moon, like I will always be on rect because I think there's a higher expected value with that decision. to win the most amount of Hxro. So what we've learned and what we've seen is like people have realized that technical analysis is one element. Sure, sentiment analysis is probably a more important element in skill that people have developed to be good at this game. And risk management is probably the biggest thing that you need to be focused on when playing this contest or these contests, so you don't just blow out your account. Because like the pari-mutuel nature again, if you're too big of the prize pool, you end up diluting the ratio and kind of reverse ratio yourself. So if there's 10,000 Hxro in there and you're 5,000 of it, your payout potential of everyone's on the other side is a 2x, but likely it's going to be 2,500s on your side, 2,500s on the other side. So you're going to end up getting like a 1.5x upside possible. So risk management and understanding the pool size and gauging the sentiment are probably the two biggest skills that you can have in playing this game, as opposed to just trying to be right in technical analysis. And that's what we found people have said. Like, there's been a number of people that have said like they've learned more playing about trading and playing Hxro in a month than they have trading on their own the last 3 years. Like, it ends up being a very valuable learning tool for people, educational.
Word. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, it was actually like one of the most interesting things, and what got me the most excited after like 2 months of feedback in the beta. Like, people are just like, this is a great learning tool. Yes.
Well, there are also so many limitations there's only so much that you can do with technical analysis when you're looking at a really, I guess, low time frame, maybe high time frame. When you're looking at 5-minute intervals, you know, if you have a trading view open, next to your browser, you can look at the chart and you can say, well, I think it might go in this direction. I think it might go in this direction. But how much are you going to get from these indicators? I mean, a lot of that is it's not open to randomness, but you don't really know the minute to minute sentiment shifts as much as the daily, weekly charts and where the price is trending. It's hard. It's challenging.
Definitely is. And we found like we're kind of owning that 5-minute space, right? Because prior to this game, like no one ever looked at the 5-minute candles. They thought it was noise. But there's people that have become like astute and like almost like savant at reading the 5-minute chart, and it's given them a huge edge in actually trading too, like because they can see these shorter time frame moves and understand what the possibilities, outcomes are, and make really good decisions based on these 5-minute charts that no one else is looking at. It's been pretty cool to like see it unfold.
It's really interesting. We were talking a little bit earlier about regulations and you guys working to be compliant. So I noticed that there was it might just be for the beta, I'm not sure, but there was a banner listing like countries that you can't be a citizen of to play the game for right now. I think the US was included there. Don't remember too many of the other ones, but could you talk to us a little bit about that, and then about just the regulations in gaming versus in crypto, and how you guys fit in that space?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about like the countries that were not allowing the jurisdictions to play for legal compliant reasons. And while we're in private beta, we have a little bit more flexibility, but we intend on geofencing in the near future, especially like before launch, before a public launch, the United States and like countries that are on the terrorist watch lists. You can find that on our website. And but I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, I think, and we're taking proactive steps to make sure that we're following the guidelines. But with regards to the gaming and the gaming legal, like that's not really my realm. I'm not an expert in that. We have our lawyers handle it for us, so we're gonna have to defer that question to a later date. It's just not something I'm really that comfortable speaking about. Don't want to overstep my bounds here.
Yeah, it's totally fair.
But just know that we have the best legal teams in the space working on our side to ensure that we're doing everything right.
Cool. No, it's totally fair. It's a really complicated topic, and I understand that. I was watching another interview with you guys, actually with Dan Gunsberg, one of the other founders. So he was talking a lot about his background in trading. He said he was on the trading floor, maybe not on the trading floor for all of 20 years, but he has a really extensive finance background.
Yep.
And he described Hxro as a step toward trading without the implications of spot trading, without all the implications of putting, however many thousands of dollars into the market and being on the line for all of that money. Is that how you would describe it? How would you describe what you guys are trying to accomplish with the game?
Definitely, it's a pretty spot on. I guess not definition, but it's a pretty spot on assessment. So we try to make this as easy and simple as possible for the user to get in there and play, while having fixed risk, so they understand like when they're entering contests what their entry size is, and they can't lose more than that per contest. But they have virtually uncapped upside because of the pari-mutuel nature of the game. If every single person is on one side and you're the only one with a smaller entry on the other side, you have virtually uncapped upside. So we've seen people win 400x payouts. There was an instance where somebody had 10 on I think it was Rect, and there's 4,000 on Moon, and they just won it all. And we've seen 179x. We've seen 150x, 50x,
wow.
50x, like 12x's happen daily. Like there's so yeah, like we want it to be like a simple on-ramp for people to get into crypto and trading and feel comfortable and confident that they can only lose what they've entered. Whereas like something like BitMEX, you have no idea like the funding mechanisms. You're like, most people when they get into it don't understand how leverage works. They don't understand about the fees and paying for the contract, and they end up like liquidating their whole balance and have no idea how the fuck it happened. So we're trying to do the opposite and give people like clear, fixed risk, clear, simple, easy to understand, easy to use game to really kind of get them started in crypto, or if they're already in crypto, have a fun, exciting experience. Like our goal is to turn every gamer into a trader, because we think that we can really capture that audience and make them feel comfortable and confident entering the space by just the simplicity of our games.
I mean, there's also a pretty big intersection within crypto between traders and gamers.
For sure. I mean, they're all using GPUs to mine and to play. Like, if you have GPUs, you probably are playing some games at some point. Like,
totally. I know this is really offhand, so I don't know if, no worries if you don't have the number, but what's the biggest pot that you guys have seen like in Hxro tokens for one?
Yeah, what's interesting is, so before we were listed on exchange, so we opened our private beta January 1st. I think it was like February 9th or 10th when we finally got listed on IDEX, and then like the 14th we got listed on Bittrex International. So prior to the listings, when people just thought that these were magic internet tokens that had no value, just there was utility but no value, the pots were getting outrageous. Like we saw like 200,000 Hxro pots.
Wow.
Several times a day. Like 100,000 was like kind of normal during power hour, especially like during power hours, like 5 to 6 p.m. Central and 10 to 11 p.m. Central. The pot sizes get larger, and like we were 100, 150K, 200K was pretty regular occurrence. And now, since we're trading on exchanges and the tokens actually have a tradable monetary value, people's sizing just dropped off a cliff. Like people that were firing like 10K per contest entries are now like scaling back to like maybe 500, 1,000, and they just, instead of trying to accumulate, they're like protecting themselves and their stack. So I'd say like last night there was a live stream on the Crypto Street podcast where there's a 2 versus 2 challenge of Plums and Crypto Dale, like the number 1 and 2 people, or 1 and 4 I think is what they were, and then Sicarius and Ledger Status. The
Hxro battle.
A Hxro battle, exactly. And the pots got up to, I think we had 75,000 Hxro pool sizes. So it was that's kind of like around the highest we've seen since we got on exchanges.
Okay.
But it's been interesting to see like immediately upon like these having value, people just like stopped going big.
Oh shit! I can sell this. But I mean, that's, there's also really used to it because, you can practice trading, but you can also make some money doing it. I mean, I ran the numbers real fast, and I think, so I last time I checked, you guys were, I think, trading around 8 cents roughly US, and like a 200,000 pot is 16 grand. Like that's up for grabs per round for one of those huge pots.
Yeah, for the biggest.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say is the ideal user of your app? Like, who are the power users right now? Who are you guys trying to market toward?
Um, so I don't know if I want to name names, but yeah, I mean, the power
Oh,
users.
not like like certain people, just like, I guess, are they mostly traders? Are they mostly, people who are new to crypto who want to learn how to trade?
Yeah, I mean, so our private beta obviously launched, and it was like a small group of people that we were friends with, and that um, there was like 35 of them to start in the first couple of days, and then they reached out to their network and wanted to like bring their friends on because they're telling them about it, and so it kind of grew organically from there. And they were mostly like crypto Twitter influencers and friends of ours. So that's kind of our core group right now, and that's definitely our target audience. But we definitely want to like capture like the mid to hardcore gamers, the people that want to like have fun and hang out while they're doing other things, while they're trading and while they're watching the charts, while they're watching football, whatever it is. And we think that there's a huge overlap between like the gamers, the like video gamers, like the poker players and daily fantasy sports players and cryptocurrency traders. So those three or those four groups are more or less our target market. And we think that we can do a pretty good job of capturing them and bringing them on the platform and converting them into cryptocurrency enthusiasts and traders and hero players.
It's a huge market. I mean, even if you're just looking at fantasy sports.
Yeah, fantasy sports is like 23 million people. Like poker's, I don't even remember anymore because it's like since Black Friday, like numbers have dropped off. But it's probably like 10 million people. And I mean, gaming as a whole globally is like 2 billion people. Like it's a pretty big market.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's look at it from the perspective of a new user. I just signed up.
Yep.
What's the minimum bet available? Are there like startup, like 10 tokens, 10 hero tokens in my wallet when I sign on? What does it look like when I first join the private beta?
So the minimum entry size is 10 hero. That's the minimum you need to get in the game. When you first join and sign up, you'll go through the registration process, get the verification email, confirm your email, verify yourself, sign in, and do two-factor authentication there at sign in, or skip the step and go back to it later. But then there's no credits that we're not giving people credits just to sign on. We had a referral campaign that's live that people were able to earn hero through signing up on the wait list and referring their friends in their network. And those credits will be available once we launch publicly.
Okay.
So for anybody who's signing up now, when you sign up and log in, you have your account, but you need to fund it with heroes. So you'll need to purchase hero on IDEX or Bitcoin International and bring it on the platform to begin to play. And then once you have hero, you can enter contests really easily by clicking the floor, clicking on the Moonrack game, and then entering. And there's a 10 hero minimum.
Cool. And it's strictly desktop right now?
So it's desktop, but the site is mobile responsive. So it works really well and seamlessly on Android, iOS devices, and whatever device you have, really. Tablets work well. Like it's definitely a roadmap to have a native app, but it's not something that we're looking to do right now. Definitely by the end of the year, we plan to have one, but the mobile responsive works really well. And we found that like, I think it's 51% of users are actually using their mobile. So
oh, really?
Getting a lot of play. Yeah.
That's awesome. Would you like hypothetically when you get to the end of the year, release OS and Android apps, at the same time, one after another, down the road?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm not sure like the development resources and the time frame to get them built and approved by the iOS store and by Google Play, but definitely want to have both of them by the end of the year. Whether it's at the same time or one than the other, it's to be determined, but it's definitely in our plan.
I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I get it.
So many variables. Who knows? Like which one's easier to develop, and what development talent we have that we can hire that will be able to bang it out, and what kind of speed that'll be.
Sure. Since we're talking about the roadmap, when are you looking at for the full live launch?
So we're looking at Q2. We're targeting mid-May is our target right now, tentatively. But we've been in private beta for 3 months now, and we've worked out a lot of bugs and a lot of issues that people have reported, which has been amazing. Like we've had great beta users that have been very spot on and reporting to us the issues and being patient with us while we fix them. I think our biggest thing right now we're trying to achieve is implementing our own pricing data, price feeds, because right now we're reliant on Coin API and data from them, which lags. So we have in the testing our own data feed, which will allow us to beat even beat the speed at which TradingView is getting data.
Oh, wow.
We've seen it in our testing, and so we want to implement that in the site. We think we'll be able to do that by middle of next week or end of next week, and then also like have a hero index. So right now our pricing data is weighted. It's 50% Coinbase and 50% BitMEX perpetual swap, and so we're going to implement 4 additional exchange feeds and make the hero index really robust so that it's not like easily manipulated. So those are like 2 major things that we want to have accomplished before we go live and open up to the public. So yeah, we're targeting a mid-May, sometime in Q2 is our tentative target date.
Okay. And what will the live rollout mean for the beta users right now? I mean, there's definitely going to be larger pots because there'll be more users on the platform.
Yep. It'll mean that we're actually going to, so we have a leaderboard and a loser board, and we have all these statistics that are displayed, and we're going to freeze the current leaderboard, archive it, make it available to look at, but we're going to start the leaderboards over again so that everyone has a fair shot, because it's going to be kind of difficult for you to like come on the platform and start with whatever your hero deposit is and try to run it up and compete with somebody like Plums, who's got 400,000 hero winnings. It's going to be a large uphill battle to beat that guy. So we want to make it fair and even the playing field. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for beta users currently, is that leaderboards will reset. Other than that, like, yeah, larger player sizes and more liquidity in the pools and that kind of stuff. But outside of that, like, there's really not going to be much difference for these guys, except for we'll probably add more time frames and coins they can trade, or they can not trade, but like play the game on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can we talk user metrics a little bit? Let me know if you're comfortable with that or not, but I'm curious about, what the average, maybe daily looks like for how many users on the platform, or any numbers you want to share.
Yeah. So we have, like, look at today's data. I think we have 812 registered users that are playing, that deposited and actually played a game.
Okay.
And of that, I think yesterday we had 175 active users. So we're looking at like 22% or something, 20%. Yeah, around like 22% daily active users. Our 7-day retention rate is something in the like 40% range, and our 30-day retention rate is something in like the about 74, 75%.
Wow.
Average hero in the pools yesterday was like total pool size is like 2,700. We had some pretty big pots yesterday during power hour. Because so right now, because we're in a private beta, like, we don't really have that large of a presence in a user base in Asia. So during the hours of like 1 a.m. to 5 to 6 a.m. Central Time, the pots are really small, which brings our total numbers down, because there's not that many people that are awake playing. I mean, there's still activity there, but it's just compared to what it is during like 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. Central. It's
quieter.
Much quieter, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of our biggest focuses right now, is trying to capture an Asian presence and bring those users on our platform, so we can have round the clock games and contests for people that want to play, and have like liquidity there so they can bet, or they can enter the sizes that they're comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 24/7 market. You can't really roll out an app, on daily fantasy or revolving around football, baseball, what have you, and have 24/7 engagement.
Correct.
What kind of fluctuations have you seen as the price changes? I mean, we just saw this huge wick upward. Does that usually lead to more users on the platform, everybody getting cocky because they, think that they're gonna, hit bull and make some huge payouts?
Yeah. So what kind of I've observed is that like when the price is ripping, like we saw in the last couple of days, and it's just like there's $170 like price increases in the price of Bitcoin in a 5-minute time frame. People come on, they want to play. There's more volatility, so like whereas when we're trading sideways, the price of Bitcoin in a 5-minute time frame was like 25 cents one way, 1 cent another way. Like the closed price would be like small. It would just be like a small minor ticks, and it was like really like you got to the point where if it was a $5 in one direction, you felt like really confident there's no way you're going to lose. Like lock this down with 1 minute and a half to go. Like there's no way I'm losing. And now with the volatility for the last couple of days, like we're seeing $25 like moves in one direction, and people aren't confident. Like, oh fuck, like this thing might go the other way. Like I have no idea. So there's definitely been like a sentiment shift in people's like confidence of the price staying and them winning. So that it becomes like a much larger sweat, and the excitement kind of ramps up. And we've seen like people already have an inherent moon bias that are in crypto. Like they think the price is going to go up, and they want to like they want to kind of enter the contest on that side. And so over the last couple of days, like you've seen that more and more of the entries have been on the moon side, which gives the rect a better ratio. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely increased activity on the platform with when the price is going up. It's been fun to watch and be part of.
Yeah. I mean, I think we see that industry wide. You know, we see that on YouTube videos and, you know, podcasts.
Twitter, people coming out of the woodwork. So I haven't tweeted in 6 months.
Yeah.
I told you guys. Next stop, 12,000.
I've been saying this for months. Where the fuck have you been? What are you talking about?
Retweet with commented like their call from 9 months ago, and they just like deleted every other bad call.
Yeah.
Told you guys.
All right, why don't we switch over to questions? We're going to switch to questions from the Cryptocopia community. I'm just going to, you know, read off what everybody wants to hear. But listen, CC, hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear from Danny, and we will get your thoughts out there. Squidbox is first up. Squidbox wants to know if Hxro is fully decentralized, and how does it work with the smart contract?
It is not fully decentralized. It is not. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We want to have like a fun, exciting game for people to play with a token that has full utility to enter the contests. And if we were to do this as a DApp on Ethereum, like because of the time, the nature of like needing the pricing data so quickly, like and being able to enter the contests with 1 second left, if we had it on a DApp or a smart contract, like you would have to enter the contest probably 20-30 seconds in advance for it to actually register. Plus, like the fees associated with that would be astronomical. So it's definitely something we're considering in the future to like make it actually fully decentralized smart contract thing. But for right now, we didn't have a white paper. We just like roll this game out. It's all of the information of the scoring and people's entries are all in a database, and the tokens are obviously like transactions. If you're depositing or withdrawing, like those are on chain, but none of the game contests or stuff is on chain. There's no smart contract for that. There's not a DApp.
Okay. Which brings up a really good, like that's a really interesting point about just the idea of decentralizing and how, you know, I guess relevant, you know, decentralized characteristics are depending on the project that you're looking at. Because if you're building Ethereum, like if you're building a base protocol, if you're building architecture that needs the trustless ability to host an app, just because it could be any app, and the app might be identity software, which you don't want, you know, XYZ government to have access to and be able to shut down or restrict in any way, right? Decentralization is so fundamentally more important than, you know, basically I'm just trying to say that it depends on what you're trying to accomplish and how many, you know, different applications are being hosted on what you're building. Okay, so why don't we move on? Foolish Professional wants to know, from what I've read about Hxro, you didn't raise all that much money. How are you able to afford to pay such a large team? Hard-hitting questions from Cryptocopia today.
Yeah, we did a small seed raise in May of 2018, which allowed us to build the platform and bring on talent and get to where we are. We've done a small raise, private sale through Paper Street. And I mean, we're passionate about this game, about this company, and we're running bare bones, and we're able to make it work. I mean, it's just what it is, man. Like, we think like we're gonna build this thing up and create value, and we're just confident in our ability to execute. We've kind of proven that over the last 10 months. Like, we have high confidence, self-efficacy, and we think we can deliver, and we're not really that concerned with the details. Like, we're confident it's gonna all work out.
I mean, that's not, I think it's not abnormal for new companies anyway. We had Stratus on for an interview maybe 4 weeks ago, and we were talking about their initial raise of, I think, 5 million. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but that was 3 years ago, and it was a 5 million raise compared to EOS's 4 billion and whoever else you want to talk about, from 2017 raising hundreds of, yeah, because they need that money for
just have an infinite burn rate, like, or infinite runway for like their burn. Last, how long can you really operate in $4 billion? Like, you got 200 years? Like, what?
Look, if there's ever a nuclear winter, then what's going to stick around is cockroaches and EOS. So good for them.
Yes.
God, I love the names today. Waxed Thighs wants to know. Where would you recommend a newcomer to start if they're interested in getting involved in Hxro?
As a player, I'd recommend you getting some Hxro and emailing our support at hxro.io and skipping the waitlist and bring on platform, and then just kind of reading. There's articles out there by some of our like best players. Ledger Status put out a strategy article and did an interview with Coin Talk Show where he gives a pretty good fundamental strategy and kind of breaks down like what he does and why, and talks about risk management and exposure to the pools. Kevin Steele did a great one. So I think like, and then following Simon, he's been pretty open on his Twitter account. I think it's at Simon34, SIEMAN, I think is what it is. You can find him if you search Hxro. He's got it in his bio, so you can pretty easily find him. I'd say like read as much as you can from those guys and kind of get an idea of what their strategy is and try to replicate it while keeping your exposure and risk management like at the forefront of your mind, like not trying to blow out your account and just being patient and just kind of using it as a learning tool to kind of build your stack. Like Simon, I think he had 200 Hxros what he started with, and he's up to, I'm not sure what it is today, but I know when he did that tweet thread, it was like 34,000 and it had been like 24 days. Turned 234,000 in 24 days, and he's like manually tracking all of his entries in a spreadsheet and charting it and giving it like pretty good person to follow, I think, if you're trying to really get into the game and find a winning strategy. So I think, yeah, like just searching out these guys and what they've done and taking little bits of information from their strategy and trying to replicate it and playing small at first. Just get excited.
He's really putting up some numbers, Simon.
He's crushing, man. His win rate is like 61%, and they have a French Discord that they created for Hxro, and a bunch of them are in there talking. And his friend Spitox, but I want to get them in a 2-versus-2 battle of Spitox and Simon against maybe Dale and Plums again. But it's astronomical. They're far and away like the highest winning players, I think, on the site over a large volume of contests, and it's been incredible to watch. Like, I'm proud, honestly. I'm proud of them. They're killing it. 60%, 55%. Like, who wins that much?
It's crazy. It's seriously crazy. So how often do you guys have these 2-versus-2 battles? That
was the first one. That was Rick Little, No Coin Rick's brainchild, and he reached out to those guys and made it happen. And it was so exciting to be a part of, man. I was watching the stream and just like laughing hysterically and like feeling the sweat. There was like a couple candles where so they went like one team chose which side for one contest, the next one it alternated choices, And there was a couple that were like, I remember there was one last night that was, I think it was Moon the entire time until the last 20 seconds. Then it flipped like 4 times. And there's like a 10-second confirmation period after the contest ends before it closes. And it flipped there twice during confirmation. And they were just like, oh my God, please. No, go wrecked. Like easy Moon, give me that money. It was fun. It was exciting. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
If I go back on Crypto Street Podcasts, like YouTube channel, and see replay, just kind of see what these guys are doing and like feel the excitement and energy when these pots are ripping and they've got exposure. It's fun.
And now is everybody else playing while the 4 of them are playing each other?
Live. Yeah, so they're just entering contests while everyone else is playing too. But it was the first one we had, and I think it was a huge success. Like a lot of people, they had like 80 viewers or 85 viewers watching live, and the chat was crazy. Like it was a lot of fun to be a part of.
Would you guys ever think about, like, I'm sure you're thinking about all different kinds of, versions of Moon Wrecked, but then other games that you're thinking about spinning out. Would you ever think about letting users, just do their own lobby and have the same price feed, but battle each other, 2v2 with nobody else in the pot? Would that be fun, or would it suck? Because
we definitely thought about like a way to do heads up, like, but like obviously there's got to be like, on Moon Wreck specifically, it's like if both people are on the same side, it's a wash. Like there's no one wins.
Right.
But like maybe like a series of like 5 or 10 contests that encompasses the heads up battle, and maybe you can make a 2v2. But it's definitely something that we've been thinking about and strategizing on how to make it work, because there is a lot of like that. Like in crypto Twitter and Twitter in general, it's like a lot of testosterone, a lot of ego, and people want to like call someone out and be like, "You fucking suck!" Like I bet I can out trade you in whatever time frame. Like put your money where your mouth is. So we want to give people the ability to like do that and play on our platform in that regard. So we're just trying to work out the mechanics and figure out how to do it. But it's definitely something that it's on a roadmap for sure. Can
you guys please get Noriel?
There's actually a user on there that made his screen name Noriel Rubini, and he's like top 20. But it's not the real Noriel.
I hope he joins one day and then sees real Noriel. Get him more pissed.
Yeah.
Goes into the Twitter rant. All right, next up, Virtual John wants to know if you're able to interact with the Hxro platform through an API.
Not at this moment. It's definitely something that we're gonna add, but currently no.
Okay. Cryptkeeper is asking if on smaller market cap coins, there's a risk of someone pumping a token to win your game. Is this something that you guys have thought about, and do you have any way to prevent it?
Yeah, we're not going to add those coins or tokens. Like we want to make sure that the whatever we add has a lot of liquidity and is on multiple exchanges, so we can have an index so that if it is possible, so that it's not really feasible or financially feasible or possible for that to happen. So that's why right now we have Bitcoin. Our next ones will probably be like Tron, EOS, Ethereum, Ripple, like those kind of like larger market cap coins. That's definitely a concern that we have and had when really conceptualizing this game, and just made the decision like unless it's liquid, unless it's on multiple exchanges, it's just too susceptible to manipulation. So we're just not gonna deal with it.
That's fair. All right, we have another one from Virtual John. He was wondering, and this is really interesting, I didn't even think about the strategy, but are you able to bet Rect and Moon at the same time? Because if you think about hedging your bet, say you choose how much you're staking for Moon and Rect, you get some really interesting strategies there.
Yeah, no, that would be a violation of our terms and service to have multiple accounts. On one account, you can only enter one side, and ultimately, like that's a long-term losing strategy because you're just paying the service fee. Like if you think about it logically, like do a thought experiment, like you're entering equal amounts on both sides, like you're just going to end up paying the service fee over the long term. It might be like viable the short term to win over like a 2-hour period or like maybe a day, but if you run it for like a month or 2 months, you're just going to end up bleeding out 3% both ways.
Okay. Next question is pretty wide reaching. So Squidbox wants to know what you think about the future of crypto gaming in general, and what the role of crypto gaming is going to be in overall blockchain adoption.
I think it's probably one of the best use cases to get outsiders into crypto, especially like given like NFTs and the ability to transfer assets across multiple platforms. So if you have a character that you've built up and spent fucking a year playing on like World of Warcraft, and you like the attributes, like outside that game, it's valueless. There's no cross-platform communication, but having like interoperability, the NFTs, and being able to transfer those assets really provides a lot of value to the ecosystem, and people would like that. So I think that's one of the major turn-ons about crypto assets and gaming for a lot of people. And I think that the gaming space and crypto gaming is really going to be the next wave of bring user adoption to crypto. I see it as like a fun and exciting way to really on-ramp with the next generation of crypto users.
We've also seen that with the internet, right?
Yep.
You know, it's often games that are sort of that first wave, or maybe second or third wave of a really long, bunch of waves that give you this new platform that not everybody is going to adopt right away, but it's fun. You can play around, you can, kind of get a feel for things with, maybe not so high of stakes. You're not running your business on the internet or a blockchain yet, but if you can win some money, if you can, fuck around a little bit and have some fun.
Yeah, and I think that the most successful companies in the crypto gaming space are going to be the ones that operate and you have no idea there's a blockchain associated with it. Like it just runs in the background and there's no complexity to it. Because I think that's probably one of the biggest barriers to entry is the perceived complexity of crypto in general. It just turns people off. They like see like all this like long strings of alphanumeric keys or text, and they're just like, what the fuck is this? Like I'm instantly like turned off. I don't even know what this is, and I don't even care to dig any deeper because I'm just like, I'm not that smart, or they think that it's just too intimidating. And so I think the ones that are able to kind of wrap it and package it like it's not even on a blockchain, but in the background all that stuff's like working seamlessly are going to be the ones that really succeed and really can capture a large audience in the space.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I mean, your UI doesn't look like my crypto. You're not clicking through like public-private keys. You're not using a ledger. You're not really doing anything complicated besides logging onto a website and playing around with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are actually, I think we have one or two more community questions. Let me jump over there. Guys, make sure, you're letting us know any questions that you want to hear. We have about another 15 minutes left of the AMA. So I have two more queued up, and then I'm going to switch back to some of my questions. But yeah, we still have some time. Let us know. Three-Eyed Raven wants to know, how are you juggling duties between Pinkcoin and Hxro? Which project is getting the majority of your focus these days?
I would say definitely Hxro. Pinkcoin's been up and running for it'll be 5 years on May 2nd. So it's been fully autonomous, and I mean, there's some like upgrades and wallet stuff that are being worked on. But for the most part, it's like fully autonomous, and the Donate for Life platform has been up and running. These partner organizations are receiving staking rewards all day, every day. Like, doesn't require that much attention right now, and my focus is say like 98% Hxro. Like taking up all of my time and attention, and I'm thoroughly passionate about it. So it's been the primary focus.
Can you I'm curious, can you tell us a little bit about your day to day? Like what it looks like when you're working on the site?
Yeah. So we have an office here in Bannockburn, Illinois. So during the week, I usually stay at a hotel near Bannockburn because my in-laws' family lives in the south side of Chicago. So my wife and kid are in Hawaii right now. So I stay on the weekends at their house, and then weekdays I'm in a hotel. So it's not that big of a commute because it's like a fucking 3-hour daily commute if I drive there every day. So I wake up, go to the Hxro office with Dan and Rob. We every day is different, man. It's like really like just kind of a moving target. So we talk with our developers, talk with our support staff. We kind of hash out ideas and try to focus on like what the main goals are that we want to accomplish in that day and that week, and really just drive it home and execute and make sure everyone's on the same page, and just yeah, I mean a lot of communication, a lot of just execution. Just I mean, there's no defined daily task or routine. It's just like every day is different. Every day is new phone calls with people, meetings we're taking, like going to conferences, traveling. Yeah, it's every day is different.
Whatever needs to get done.
Exactly. But we're in the office like generally Monday through Friday from like 9 to 6, and then we go home and work from home.
Word. Let's see. Double QP wants to know if you need to submit KYCAML to play on Hxro.
So, not to play. If you want to purchase Hxro from the platform and deposit Ethereum, you will need to do KYCAML. If you want to withdraw more than $1,000 worth of Hxro at a time in a day, you will need to submit KYCAML. Right now, those are the only two requirements. Or if we flag your account for suspicious behavior, those are the three kind of triggering events to ask for us to ask you to KYCAML.
Okay. All right, word. All right, let's switch it back. I had some more questions I was curious about, but yeah, you guys let us know if you have more questions. We will be sure to ask. So let's talk a little bit. I know we touched on some of the other tokens that you guys are thinking about. I think you might have said allowing like in-app in-game markets for, but correct me if I'm wrong. But do you have plans to pay out in tokens that aren't Hxro, make in-app trades where it's not dependent on the price of Bitcoin, but it might be focused on the price of Ethereum? Like what's your view on other tokens?
It's definitely something that we're discussing. I think like allowing people to enter in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever other ones that we have games for, and converting them to Hxro on the back end into the pool, and then paying them out in whatever that entry token is, and it would just be a function of us doing treasury management, and possibly like having a larger service fee to entice people to play in Hxro instead. But it's nothing's like set in stone. It's something we're kind of back and forth with, but it's definitely our intention to do something to allow users to enter contests and whatever their preferred coin or token is. And yeah, the future games, like we're not sure exactly when it's going to happen, but probably relatively soon we're going to start rolling out new tokens and coins to allow people to play short-term price action on. But yeah, it's to be determined when that date is.
Okay. Well, that's the idea too behind my bags, right? So you pick like 4 or 5 tokens, like you build out a portfolio, and then based on how your portfolio does compared to everybody else's portfolio, that's what your payout might look like.
Yep. So my bags is the next game that we're gonna have in the pipeline. It's very similar to how daily fantasy sports works. If you're familiar with DraftKings or FanDuel and their contests, so you get to draft a portfolio of crypto assets and weight them, synthetically weight them, absolute value of 100, so you can go long or short, and compete your bags of your portfolio against everyone else in that same contest, and your finishing place and your payout is directly related to how you finish versus your peers. So if I'll just use poker tournaments or daily fantasy sports tournaments as an example. So generally like 10% of the field gets paid out. So if there's 1,000 people in a contest, the top 100 get paid out, and it's like a long-tailed payout structure. So if first place gets generally about 20% of the prize pool, second place gets 10, and then it trails off from there to where the bottom of the prize pool or the payout players get like roughly like 1.5 or to 2 times their money back, their entry back. So that's kind of how we're going to replicate a portfolio game contest in my bags with a similar payout structure and similar kind of feel as those games. So we think that might be a good game to really capture those crossover audiences of poker and daily fantasy sports players, as well as like kind of give people who are currently in love with Moonrect another game to fall in love with.
Word. Okay, cool. So I was curious about like, I guess it's more UI. If you're very trading focused, how exactly do you guys try and replicate the trading experience within Hxro? You know, are there charts in there? Like, how do you, we were talking earlier about the excitement, like the excitement of trading, like just that rush that you get.
Yep.
How do you recreate that for people?
So there is that chart on the website. If you scroll down below the game carousel cards, you'll see a chart, so people can look at the chart and do whatever indicators they want on it. But we recreate that adrenaline excitement experience by obviously like the fast nature of the game and like the flips and the price action movement. But there's a troll box and a beta Telegram chat that is fucking lit, bro. Like it's on fire. Like people are just going ham in there, like challenging each other, just like freaking out when the price flips and it's on their side, like bragging, like crying, like virtually crying when it flips against them. Like it's like honestly, like it might be the place to be in crypto, to be perfectly honest. Like there's the
gotta have the troll box.
Yeah, like there's a who's who of crypto in our beta Telegram channel, and that's where they spend their evenings, and they're out there like talking trash and like bragging and having a good time. And that like communal community that we built in there has been just like that. That's more like what's been building like the excitement and what's making it more like the trading floor vibe is just like all the interaction in there, while the volatility of the game and the price action is making the excitement and adrenaline rush. So it's kind of like the two elements combined really make it that experience that we've kind of replicated.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're describing Polony X's troll box like 2 years ago.
Dude, once they lost the troll box, like game over. Like no one wanted to be on there anymore.
That's why no one's on there right now.
Yeah. What are you doing, Polony X? Bring the troll box back.
Are you guys thinking about any kind of a referral system? I know you've had one during the beta, but do you think you would roll one out for the launch?
On an affiliate program as we speak, trying to iron out the mechanics and figure out what the best way to do it is. But we definitely want to incentivize people to bring others on the platform and get rewarded for it.
Like any like broad strokes that you can talk about right now, or you guys are planning it right now, so there might not be any concrete.
Yeah, there's nothing concrete. It's all moving target, but we have quite a bit of time and attention and focus on that program. We think it's going to be a valuable resource for us going forward to onboard a ton of new users. I mean, like this referral campaign that we have, the wait list, I haven't checked in a couple of days, but it was at 185,000 people on the wait list. So it's been very successful, and we think we can continue on that success by having an affiliate program.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I forgot that I wrote this down, but I should have asked you this earlier. So speaking of the troll box, do you see people trying to influence one side or the other?
Yeah, man. It's amazing. It's hilarious.
Does that work?
I don't know if it works, but you see people in there all the time, like showing screenshots of their next entry of being like, I got 5,000 on this next card. Come at me, bro. And I don't know if they're flipping. I don't know if like what it is, but they're definitely like trying to influence action, or like somebody's been like saying how like imagine being wrecked on the next one, like I would never, like, and just like doing small stuff like that to just try to influence the sentiment so that they can capture a nice upside multiplier. It's kind of hilarious, honestly, to watch it unfold. And
they're trying to play that mind game.
Yeah, like it's psychological for sure. Like that's part of the sentiment analysis part of it. Like this is hugely psychological, because if you understand like what people are going to do or can influence it, you're going to be able to get a better ratio.
Would you ever try and pull that off when you were trading? Not trading, but when you were competing and playing poker?
Oh yeah, I was. My best strength in poker was my ability to table talk and be friendly at the table, and people in poker, live poker especially, want to like conceal and not reveal, so they wear headphones and hoodies and sunglasses and like cover their neck and wear a scarf and just like show nothing. And I would break people down by like communicate with them and like ask them questions about like sports or their life or whatever, and like become friendly with them. And then they would like reveal everything. They'd take their shit off and they'd be friendly with me, be laughing back and forth.
No way.
And I would be able to get like, because people in the hand, most people aren't comfortable exposing any information at all, like talking period, because they're just so used to concealing all the information. So I'd ask them questions in the hand, like yo, like are you really this strong right here, man? Like, what are you, I thought we were friends. Like, what are you doing? And then they would just like say something to like kind of try to, I guess, throw me off the scent or whatever. Like their voice would crack or their pitch would be low or high, or they would like smile or like, they'd tell me exactly what they had, honestly. And so I use that skill of like being social and getting interact with people to my advantage a lot. Like I remember one time I was playing the World Poker Tour Legends of Poker event in LA at the Bike, and I was friendly with this guy on my left, like just like really fucking, we're like cool, like he's a nice guy. He's like 45-year-old Indian man, and I had ace king suited, and I had like fucking 40 big blinds. Like late in the tournament, there was like 70 people left. We're in the money, and I raised, and I was never intended to fold ever. Like ace king suited is like the third best starting hand, depending on who you ask, third or fourth. And this guy re-raised me like pretty chunky, like 5x my bet. And I looked at him like, what the fuck, man? I thought we were friends. Like, Danny, trust me, you want to fold. Like, you want to fold. Like, I'm not lying to you. I would never lie to you. Like, trust me, you want to fold. I'm like, oh, like, I got a fucking pretty good hand, man. Like, I don't know if I could fold. He's like, trust me.
He wasn't bluffing.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, man. I showed him my hand and I folded, and he like showed me aces. I'm like, yes, that saved me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
wow.
Good skill to have, I think.
But then with the troll box, you don't have somebody's face. You can't read their tell.
Sure, you definitely don't have that same element, but there's definitely like a lot of relationships being built in these chats. Like people are becoming friendly with each other and like kind of sharing strategies, or like maybe they've made enemies and they're just like going after somebody. Like it's created this interesting dynamic that really isn't replicated anywhere else.
Yeah. It's super interesting. I've had a lot of fun with the game so far. Nice. Cryptocopia, I would definitely check out Hxro if you get the chance. Danny, can you tell us just a little bit about how the community can find you guys, where we can hear what y'all are up to, and where we can sign up?
Yeah, so first place of information is probably going to be hxro.io, our website, and then on Twitter at realhxro. Then you have our Telegram chat, which I think like the main Telegram chat, which is, let me double check what it is. I think it's a Real Hero. Where are you? Sorry, one sec.
All good.
Manage group. Nope. Group information. Yep, it's Telegram. The Real Hero is the Telegram chat name, so you can join there. And then once you're in the beta, you'll get an invite link to our beta Telegram chat, which is the place to be. And then on Twitter, you can follow me at CryptoCasey, CAYCE. You can follow my co-founders at Dan Gunsberg and at Rob Levy. And then those are probably the best source of information out there. And then from Twitter, you'll see our Medium posts, and you'll see announcements and see like when pots get hyped. Oh, there's also the Hxro bot on Twitter, which alerts people when there's ratios of 5, like multipliers of 5x or more, pots that are 35,000 Hxro or more. There's been like 3 or more moons in a row, or X in a row, or there's somebody enters the top 10 leaderboard.
Okay. Do you guys have any battles coming up?
Not we plan on doing more, but nothing set in stone yet. Like yesterday was the first one, and it went really well, and so we're trying to plan some more. But yeah, look for in the future. We definitely will have more.
Word. Will do. All right. If anybody out there is unfamiliar with Cryptocopia, you guys should check us out as well. Shameless plug. We're at crypto_copia on Twitter. It's where we're announcing all of our interviews. We do these interviews every Thursday. AMA interviews with the best and brightest in crypto. Everybody who's working on some really, some projects that are pushing the boundaries, and it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. We're actually doing next week with Request Network. So you heard it here first. Next Thursday, Request Network. Follow us on Twitter so you can check and see what time that is going to be. Subscribe, notification bell, and all that nonsense on YouTube too, so you can get the alerts about when we're going live. But yeah, this is our jam. We're all about, news within crypto, new projects, things that you can invest in, things that you can mine, everything, the whole gamut. So follow Hxro, follow us. We're, happy to hear from you. And Danny, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, man. It was definitely my pleasure.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm excited to follow what you guys are up to over the year, and we will see you next week. Cryptocopia and Danny, we will see you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.